Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us on here in Florida, cold Tuesday morning, one of the coldest days we've had so far this winter. I'm not happy about it. For all of you coming to Florida in 2 weeks, we're hoping and praying that it warms up. Today, I want to talk to you about social validation. The reason that I chose this topic is because it is the current or one of the current buzzwords on the internet today as it relates to social media and marketing and sales and interaction with prospects and customers and clients. So we're going to dive into what social validation is all about and why it should matter to you. First and foremost, the more social validation you have, the more credibility you have. And as marketers, you need credibility. If you have no credibility, you're in trouble. The more credibility you have, the stronger your position. There are three different kinds of media that can improve or help or ratchet up your social validation. They are paid social media, owned social media, and earned social media. We're going to talk quickly about all three and what those mean. Some of them you can directly impact. Some of them are more for your boss or the owner of the company who would be doing something like that. First one is paid media. As a marketer, you're probably not going to spend the company money on paid media. That's really the domain, the area of the owners and the GMs. But ads and promos that you purchase, that you spend money on, is considered paid media. And there's a broad range of the different kinds of paid media that are out there. I mean, the obvious ones are like the local newspaper and the local penny savers, and you can even go crazy and spend money on billboards or hire a production group and create your own cable TV commercial. But there are some simpler ones like yard signs. And I know I've talked to many restoration owners who are spending a lot of money on pay-per-click ads and search engine optimization. And these are expensive. I'm aware of a particular contractor that's spending $4,000 a month on pay-per-click and SEO. And oh my gosh, pay-per-click and SEO, it's really difficult to identify the improvement on SEO, and whatever you spend on search engine optimization is going to take 6 to 12 months before you start to see any specific improvement or impact on your visibility or exposure or your ranking on the website page. Pay-per-click, some keywords cost as much as $1 or $2 or $3 per click. You heard me right. Water damage, that two-word phrase can cost you as much as $3 or $4 or $5 per click. So if you if you have a budget of, let's say, let's keep it simple and modest, $100 for the month for pay-per-click, and you're bidding on the word water damage and it's $5 a click, your website could be clicked on 20 times in one morning, and guess what? You just burned the $100. Facebook ads, Facebook is relentless in begging and pleading with you to buy ads on Facebook. And it seems relatively innocuous and doesn't feel like it's so painful, but they want you to maybe spend something as small as $5 a day to promote your post. And that $5 a day doesn't seem bad, but when you have that going day after day after day, guess what? That's $150 a month. And it's very, very difficult to prove the value. And in fact, most social media gurus tell you that buying ads on Facebook to enhance or promote a particular post are totally wasted money. You would be far better off spending the money to buy ads on Facebook to encourage other people to like your Facebook page. That is a far better way than to just spend money to promote a specific ad. There's Yelp ads, yard signs, lots of other ways as well. Owned media is completely the opposite. Owned media, this isn't something that you are buying in the form of advertisement. This is the things that you do, create, post that are your own. Facebook posts on your regular Facebook business page, posts that you put on your private groups that many of you have, Twitter posts or tweets, if you will, Pinterest posts, YouTube videos. YouTube has exploded on the market. Video on YouTube, and I don't know the exact statistics, but I just recently read that it's something like 4 billion, that's billion with a B, 4 billion YouTube videos are watched every single day. That's stunning. YouTube videos, even quick selfie type videos that you do off your own cell phone, of yourself talking, are extremely popular, very well received. Blog posts. Most of you know that I have hounded you all to post blog articles. Blog articles with catchy phrases or catchy keywords or titles that have a great hook that draw them in. Those kinds of articles are read. If you watch your Google Analytics like we do on our websites, you can track how many people not only are going to your website, but with Google Analytics, you can track how many people actually read a specific post, a specific blog article. That tells you over time how many blog articles they're reading, and it tells you which ones were the most popular. And that's valuable information for you when you're trying to know what else what other articles you should write about. You want to write in different angles the kinds of topics that people are drawn to. And then, and this works really well with others in your network group, but not your competitors, is to write blog posts and have blog posts put on your website. So have somebody write a guest blog post and post it on your website, and then you do the same for them. That it generates what's called a backlink. Your website information, your links, appear on another credible website, and that, surprisingly enough, enhances your search engine optimization, and you don't have to pay for it. Other ways that you have media that you actually own are simple things like vehicle wraps. They cost money, but it is a form of promotion. It's like a moving billboard, and that owned media enables you to have better exposure. And then the third type of media is earned media. This is a little bit different. Earned media comes to you by way of things that you do internally and externally to enhance your position or your company's position. We talk about being a thought leader. Being a thought leader, I'm going to try to give you the best explanation I can for it. A thought leader is what other people think of you when you demonstrate that you are particularly skilled or knowledgeable about a particular topic. You need to position yourselves, marketers, GMs, and owners need to position yourself as a thought leader. And the way you do that is to write credible blog articles that are posted on other people's websites. You need to, wherever possible, do interviews for either TV or radio or both. Some of you aren't particularly enamored at the idea of being on video, even though that's our own hang up. That isn't what other people feel. We're very, very critical of our own video. So you could do podcasts, which is just simply talking about your subject matter that you're an expert in. And then there is a medium or a location of places where you can put those broadcasts, or podcasts, you can put them out there for people's consumption. You can write articles for magazines. Both Bill Giannone and I have written articles for R&R magazine and Clean Facts. I've written articles for the HVAC or plumbing industry, the Indoor Air Quality Association. But when you write articles that get published in magazines or get published on those magazines' websites, it dramatically improves your earned media position and ratchets up your thought leader position. Some of you don't like to do public speaking. Well, I didn't either 25 years ago. But my boss at the time, like the day after he hired me, 25, 26, maybe longer than that, 27 6 or 7 years ago said, "Hey, guess what? You're going to be speaking at an insurance adjuster event with 25 insurance adjusters." And my eyes glazed over and the beads of sweat came out on me, and I started to stutter and stammer, and holy crap, was I scared. But he didn't let me back out of it, and so I went and did it. And oddly enough, it wasn't that bad. I got through it, didn't have any horrible faux pas, and you can do that same thing. You can do it. Your speaking engagements can be as simple as a one-on-one Zoom call with a prospect or a client, or it can be a one-on-two or one-on-three or one-on-five speaking engagement on a Zoom call with maybe multiple agents in an office. So you start out relatively small, relatively simple, and work your way up to it. I've got past all of that. I have spoken in front of several hundred people with no problems. Are there a little bit of butterflies initially? Sure, there can be, but you get past it. And why I was so determined to get past it myself is that I wanted to demonstrate that I was and or could be a thought leader, that I had reliability, that I had trust. Why does it matter? Because you absolutely need trust. Every single one of you watching this video, either right now or on Tuesday morning here, or watching it later after it's been recorded and put on the website, every single one of you needs trust. If you don't have any trust, the new prospect isn't going to want to do business with you, might not even want to talk to you. If you don't demonstrate some level of trust, your prospects and your clients are going to, at best, shrug their shoulders, and at worst, hold up their hand and say, sorry, not interested. Or they're going to feed you some BS line like, we don't get involved in claims, or, we don't do referrals because our boss doesn't want to get us obligated or get us in a pinch or between a rock and a hard place with our client. So you need trust. You urgently need trust when you're talking with clients and prospects and customers, plumbers, insurance agents. So the benefits of social validation is that the more social validation you have, the more credible and believable you are. And when you are more credible and believable, people tend to trust you a lot more. I've said this in 50 different ways over the years. If you have no trust from your clients or your prospects, then you have no sale. Or we can say it another way. If you have no trust from your clients or your prospects, they're never going to send you a referral job. And that's what every one of you wants that's watching this video. You want referrals. You want to have closed referrals. You want jobs. So social validation is what enables that to happen. When you are credible and you are believable, you get referrals, you get jobs. If you're not credible and you're not believable, I hate to tell you this, but you're probably not going to last very long with that restoration company because you're not going to get any referral work. Other ways that you can get social capital. Here's one simple way. Without bragging, talk about where you've been. Amazing as it may seem, people give you social capital if you have been on an exotic vacation that you can personally talk about. People give you social capital when you can talk about a fancy restaurant that you ate. Oddly enough, talking to some people, if you talk about having been to Disney World or walked through Magic Kingdom or walked around the lake at Epcot Center, this lends great credibility to you. It builds your social capital. Why? Because in this case, there are many, many people out there that love Disney World. And when you can talk about having been to Disney World and some of the specific things about it, it elevates you. Your credibility skyrockets. Going to a foreign country generates social capital for you. Visiting, all right, yeah, this isn't my gig necessarily, but visiting museums or exhibits, to many people, that's a significant social capital event. And so find ways to work into your conversation things like exotic vacations and fancy restaurants and Disney World and so forth. Going to a foreign country. People like to hear about it as long as you're doing it with sincerity and not bragging about it. Nobody wants to hear you bragging, but people do like to hear the cool stories that you can tell about those kinds of things. That will jack up your social capital. One other thing that jacks up social capital, and that's sharing your knowledge. We already talked about sharing your knowledge, making people feel that you are a thought leader by writing blog posts and doing posts on Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest and writing blog articles, even write some white papers that demonstrate your skill or your knowledge about a specific subject. You know, some people say to me, well, I'm in the disaster recovery business, but I'm a marketer and I really am not in a position to write about water extraction and uh, structural drying and grains of depression and how you successfully dry down building materials. But you know, it doesn't have to be a white paper within your industry for you to gain social capital. If you happen to be a horse lover, you happen to own a horse, you live on a farm with a horse or horses, you probably know 100 times more about horses than the average person does. Write an article about or write a white paper on horses. It doesn't have to be for the restoration industry. It just needs to demonstrate your skill, your knowledge. It generates social capital. It generates people feeling that you are a thought leader of a specific topic of which you are an expert in. Maybe you have dogs and you have a particular type of dog that you own and or familiar with or breed those dogs. Talk about, become an expert in that topic. And don't be afraid to share that once in a while. Post a picture and an intelligent comment on Facebook or on Twitter or on Pinterest about that particular skill or knowledge that you have. That dramatically will improve your ranking in the social world. I've already mentioned public speaking, but you know what? It doesn't have to be public speaking, once again, about water damage or mold remediation or mold abatement. It doesn't have to be about contents restoration. It can be about the thing of which you are a thought leader. It can be about horses or dogs. It can be about a foreign travel or your trip to your trip around Europe. It can be your experiences at going to Cabo San Lucas. It can be your experiences walking down Yonge Street in Toronto. It can be of any of those, and there are 100 places you can volunteer public speaking presentations at chamber meetings and all of the different social clubs and groups out there. And that breaks you slowly into it, and it enables you to elevate your credibility. Even teaching classes. I know that some of you are working toward getting approved and starting to present continuing ed classes for insurance agencies. It's the perfect way to elevate your social capital. When you're generating your social capital, especially if you're doing it via maybe a PowerPoint presentation or you're putting this on your website, make sure that it's extremely visual. Make sure that you carefully and wisely choose the right photos and pictures and graphics to go along with your presentation. It's pretty generic, it's pretty blah. If you post on a Facebook page or a Twitter account, if you post one or two sentences of text and don't post a picture with it, it has been proven, both Twitter has proven it, Pinterest has proven it, Facebook has proven it, that the involvement or engagement by your prospect or client when you post a picture is something like 700 times more likely to have that post viewed, read, or engaged with when you use good visuals, good pictures, good graphics. And then your text must be about the prospect, never about you or your company. They really don't care about you in general, and they most certainly don't care about fire, water, smoke, and mold. Nobody does until the actual moment that their house is on fire, and then they care more about the fire department than you. Even when you're designing, creating, printing, handing out literature, it better be about the client. It better not be about the latest and greatest water damage extraction equipment. It better not be about the air scrubbers that you use when you're doing mold cleanup. It better not be about the chem sponges that you use when you're removing soot from the walls of a fire damaged or smoke damaged house. Your literature, which can include Maven articles, should be about the client. Obviously, for those of you that routinely and daily give out Maven articles from the Crest library, they're categorized according to client type. So if you want to give out a Maven article to an insurance agent, you've got 50, 60, 70 of them to choose from, and every single one of them is about insurance agents, not about you. If you want to leave a Maven article for a plumber, when you go to the plumber section, every one of those Maven articles in the plumber library is about the plumber, not about you. When you're sending emails, make sure that your emails are short and sweet, kind of like Sergeant Joe Friday, who said, "Just the facts, ma'am." Don't write a 3-page email. Make sure bullet points work really well in emails to clients, and never more than 5. Never more than 2 or 3 sentences. They aren't going to read it. Period. They're not going to read it. I had a marketer recently, a few months ago, sent me an email before she sent it to the client, which was great. Said, "What do you think of this email? I want to send this out to so and so." It was 2 pages long, an email, 2 pages long, with probably close to 5 or 6, maybe 700 words. And I took that email and I turned it into about 50 words with the same impact, because nobody will read 2 pages worth of email. Please, on your emails, go in and format and create in the settings an email signature with your name, ideally a picture of yourself, a link to your website. Add that stuff on the bottom of every single email, and you don't have to retype it every time. Even you go into settings to do that, so every email has that. Even consider putting both your picture and a company logo picture or JPEG on that email signature. If you use landing pages, put in a landing page link on that signature. You will be shocked at how many people will click on those links. You'll be surprised at how many people will look at your picture, and when they look at your picture, it generates that keyword familiarity. It's the equivalent of one more touch. It's the equivalent almost of one more visit with the client when they can see your picture. Same thing, every single text message that you send out, you can go into the settings and you can add an automatic signature line on your text messages, so that it says, "Hi, Bob, how you doing today? Haven't had any water losses from you in a while." And then the signature that generates automatically is, I'm going to throw her a bone here. It's signed Rachel Roth. And now they see the name. It's one more touch. Thanks, Rachel, for that. I owe you. I'll buy you a drink on Sunday night. Getting social capital also involves, and this is in quotes, positioning. Positioning kind of follows the idea of product, price, placement, and promotion. Positioning enhances your social media or your social capital, excuse me. When you consult with other business people, your social capital goes up. So when you reach out to a real estate agent, for example, and say, hey, can I buy you lunch? I'd like to talk with you a bit and ask you some questions about the real estate business and if there are logical ways that a restoration marketer like myself could do business with a real estate agent. And when you do that, and you do that with a real estate agent, don't do it with the intention that you're going to try to sell them on doing business with you. Keep it once removed, keep it arm's length, and ask them for guidance on how you can do business with other real estate agents, as one simple example. Share something with somebody in the industry, including your competitors, or somebody in the community, another business person. You might say, geez, what would I want to share with my competitor? I'm going to give you a simple example. Something that you just read in R&R magazine, or something that you just saw posted on a social media site or Facebook or Twitter, that doesn't just apply to you, but it applies broadly to your industry, including your competitors. Share that with them. It demonstrates, when you share that with them, that you're not intimidated by them. And it makes them go, holy cow, I hadn't even considered. I didn't know that bit of information. Geez, he's really in tune with our industry. Okay? Attending association type events. I am amazed at, and of course, we haven't done this in 2020, but coming up this year, we will. I'm amazed at how many restoration contractors I talk with every week who do not attend restoration conferences. They don't attend the experience or the RIA event or contractor connection event or a DKI type event. These association type events that are generally open to the public, and they are about the restoration business, and yet so many restoration contractors don't attend them. I'm puzzled by that, because there is a wealth of knowledge to be learned. It puts you at the cutting edge of knowing what's your finger on the pulse, what's going on in the industry. Make sure that you associate with reputable and you see I have this in capital letters, known people. Associate with reputable and known people in your community, business people. That would involve attending chamber meetings. That would involve attending BOMA meetings or PHCC meetings or IFMA meetings, International Facilities Management Association meetings, the Hotel Association meetings. Associate with those people, interact with them. Let them know you and you get to know them. That jacks up your social capital significantly. Who you know is extremely important, and you need to make those local connections that you meet and know. Search them out on LinkedIn and connect with them. Try to make more Facebook friend connections. Get more Twitter followers. Regularly post good stuff on Pinterest. Just as a side note here, I have a Pinterest account. I've had it for many years. I have, I think, 13 different boards on Pinterest, but about 6 or 7 of them are restoration type boards. One is a board where I post disaster pictures. The point here is that you develop a following. I have, on average, between 12 and 1,300 people following my Pinterest accounts, my different boards every single month. Ask for and get written public recommendations. You can also do that on LinkedIn as well. Ask your customers, your clients, your insurance agents, your plumbers for 5-star reviews. Pay it forward. It's a line that's been used in the last few years. I've been using it for many, many, many years before the concept of pay it forward was popular, but I said it a little bit differently. I have always said bring value in advance. One of the ways you bring value in advance is to take your prospects and your clients a Maven article. That's value because it's about the client and you're bringing it to them whether they send you any work or not. And so you're bringing that value in advance. Whenever you're having conversations with your clients, make the conversation about them. Don't make it about fire, water, smoke, or mold. Don't make it about any of that. I apologize. We've got a siren going by or an ambulance going right by my street here. So bear with me for a moment. Last but not least, I'm going to rattle off some examples for you of networking. Networking is extremely important. You should be members of many organizations and associations in your community. You should attend their events. If they have a Blue Goose chapter, you should become a member of and join Blue Goose. If they have Chamber of Commerce chapters, you should become a member of maybe even more than one chamber in those communities around you. Join Toastmasters. What a valuable way to meet new people and get better at doing public speaking. Join local merchant associations, the Kiwanis, the Optimist Club, the Rotary. Join women in business. I'm not talking to the guys here, but join women in business organizations. I just saw one being advertised on LinkedIn recently for a group here in Cape Coral, Florida, called Women in Stilettos. I'm not exactly sure what kind of a group that was. I didn't suggest my wife join that. First, because I didn't think she'd want to wear stilettos. And secondly, I wasn't exactly sure what all they were doing with that group. But Women in Business Groups is a really great group to join if you're a female. LinkedIn and Facebook groups. Join them. You all know that you can join lots of different groups on Facebook and even some private ones. Don't be afraid to ask to join. Join your local claims association. I know in the here in Florida, I know in many cities, especially Cleveland as an example, they have a claims association organization which you can join. And I've already mentioned PHCC and BOMA and IFMA and so forth. So, getting social capital. This is kind of if you will, a recap. Talk about, without bragging, where you've been. Share your knowledge. Can't say that. Present. Post really good visuals. Use the right positioning to get yourself known to the right people and in front of the right people. Get to know really well known people in your community. Pay it forward by doing things in advance, bringing value in advance, engaging in networking. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm going to admit this to you because some of you are probably just eyes rolled in the back of your head, folks. This is absolutely a juggling act. To do everything I have suggested in this short video, maybe 45 minutes long, it's mind numbing. So it is necessary, it is important. Doing these things creates differentiation. It enhances your personal brand. It elevates you to a position of a thought leader, but it is a juggling. It's a trick. It's really a challenge to keep all those balls in the air all at the same time. So, my recommendation to you, there is no question that social validation is extremely vital. But what I'd like to see you do is pick several organizations that you can join and then try to attend their meetings, even if they're virtual meetings. Because again, your picture on Zoom, on camera, is familiarity, it's a touch. Select 2 or 3 social media platforms that you engage in: Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, for example. Social validation is so necessary and so vital today in our new world in 2021, where the whole world has gone virtual in more ways than one. You really, really need that. Thanks so much for your patience and the 7 of you that watched this video today. I'm Dick Wagner. Thanks for hanging around. I hope it was of some value to you. Bye bye. I don't know.